That is wonderful news. So things are going fine, and I know Gene here. He's had his all kinds of experiences that we've shared with one another, and this little accident out in the water that he recovered from was just kind of a little bump in the road. You had another type of cancer, apparently. I don't know how many years ago.
Well, I got squamous twice on my lips.
Okay, how long ago was that?
Various basal cells, you know.
Yeah.
About 6 years ago.
About 6 years ago. So yours was about 7 years ago, and then next year he gets a couple of kinds of cancers, but you know, they're just little cancers here and there, and you kind of take care of them, and you kind of move ahead with everything. And then you find out you had another type of cancer.
Prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer. And how did that hit you when you found out you had prostate cancer?
Well, it was a routine physical I take every year, part of my old military training, and preventative, and my PSA was only 1.0.
At the time of the exam?
That's right.
Okay, I want everybody to hear that. It was 1.0, which
right.
was very low
right.
for any kind of a man, and yet an older gentleman, 1.0 is very, very low. So how did they find it?
It gave me a rectal.
Okay.
And he said, "Gene, old boy," he says, "you got a bump." He says, "Oops, you got 2 lumps."
During the exam?
Yeah. He says, "You better go see
probably a urologist.
Urologist and get biopsy." So back to Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, you've had your experience there at Baylor,
yep,
and had a good experience.
Yes.
Okay.
And he biopsied me, painlessly I might add, compared to what I hear about some of these other fellas.
Yeah.
He was also a pilot. We talked airplanes, and he said he was going to hit me 14 times, and I said, "Well, when are we going to get started?" He said, "I've already done 10.
Wow, that was a good.
So that was a good experience.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
And then a friend of mine from Dallas, another Air Force buddy, I was visiting him while I was in Dallas to have my biopsy, and I told him, and he said, "Oh, you got to talk to a guy I know who went to this place called Loma Linda in California and keeps talking about it. He was there 7 years ago, and he says that's the only way to go if you ever have prostate cancer." So I talked to him. He gave me the telephone number of the hospital. I called them. I had 2 of my daughter-in-laws, our computer experts. They got on the internet and they looked under Proton. They delivered me about 14 pages or so of stuff. Information, including Loma Linda. Loma Linda sent me the book. You know the name, You Can Live Without
by
Surgery.
Bob Marcini.
Yeah, right. And I read that, and then I decided after I read all their stuff that I would check a few doctors, and the doctors didn't seem to know too much about it. I didn't have anyone tell me not to do it.
But limited information as far as...
Yeah. Well, when one guy told me he'd put the seeds in for free, the gold seeds, I knew we weren't on the same page. And he's the guy who biopsied me, but he was very good. He tried to get me to go to Baylor, but I'm an old salesman, and naturally you got to sell the company brand. So I decided to go to Loma Linda, and I'm now finished, and I feel confident, and I don't think there's going to be any problems at all.
Now, while the 2 of you are out here, have you been actively involved, or, I mean, was this matter of the treatment, did it kind of set you back a little bit, or what have you been doing while you're in California?
I love it. I'm going to stay. He's going home.
You're going to send him home, and you're going to stay. So what kind of things have you been doing? I know that you've been actively involved.
Well, I play golf, and I play bridge down in Redlands. Or not Redlands, Ridge, down south, down 215.
Okay. Riverside?
Riverside.
Okay.
Played bridge down there, and I swim in the triathlon.
You did take you took part in the Possibilities Triathlon,
yeah.
And I might add, for our listening audience, that we had a number of teams that took part from radiation medicine, and those that were some that were being treated with proton, and some of the staff. And I might add that the Possibilities Triathlon was a 3.1 mile run, followed up with an 8-mile bike ride, followed up with a 150-yard swim. And you did the swimming part, and your team came in first among all the proton anyway, and very early among the others. And you swam the 150 yards.
And I'm not a dense water swimmer. I can swim in the ocean with the salt water forever.
But you did absolutely great.
Well, I enjoyed it. I got in the, I have to say this. First of all, I had to run. I didn't have any shoes. They didn't tell me I had to run.
Well, you had to run to where the pool was.
Yeah, from the bike to the
they
pool.
They started a little distance away.
Then they told me I couldn't dive in. I had to jump, and I've never jumped in a pool. So, oh. So I came up, I started swimming, and I was going to do a nice leisure swim. Like,
Sure, just
yeah, just
kind of
all
a
I had to
nice
do was
leisure.
finish. Well, everyone started passing me. I said, well, it's enough of that. And woo-hoo-hoo.
So you really went at it.
So
and, you
I
know,
went, and then I had to run to the finish line.
And you did an overhand all the way, didn't you? That is absolutely wonderful. So she's been keeping busy. What have you been doing while you're here in treatment?
I have actually, I hike every day.
Did you go hiking every day? Okay.
And I have to go a little slow because I'm nursing a repaired meniscus, but I get there.
Okay.
And I read a lot of books. And my highlight is to be the wine bearer. I deliver the wine at the
At a program.
at the program.
Patient
potluck.
program, yeah.
The potluck.
there.
Right, I'm the wine steward.
Okay. So you've been actively involved there.
Yes, and then we do go to the Wednesday night
Educational support group
educational,
meeting.
and we took the trip with the through the machine.
Yeah, you went through on the tour.
Uh-huh. And
Have you been using the Drayson Center at all?
Yes, yes. I've gone over with Doe and I've sat in the hot tub and soaked my knee
Okay.
while she swam.
While she was swimming.
And we go to the dinners on Thursday.
So now, tell me about the impact of the support system here, because you mentioned it was a little bit different than what you had encountered when you had cancer.
It is, Jean and I have been through a lot of experiences. We've done a lot of things. I mean, a lot. This is one of the best experiences I have ever had, and it's the positive energy. It just makes you feel good. It makes you feel like doing things, and the people are, all the people we've met are so wonderful, and some of them I miss a lot, especially my golf buddies.
Yeah, well, you get acquainted and you're on the same
Yes.
journey, and you're spending time with them down at the Drayson Center. And how often were you going down to the Drayson Center?
I only went down to practice swimming.
I remember when you say, now where's the pool at? Because you got the swimming coming up in a few days, and you really hadn't been doing much swimming prior to this. You used to swim years ago.
But my idea of exercise is getting out of bed in the morning. I don't
yeah,
like exercise. I run up and down the stairs. I run back and forth. And of course, we're staying in this little room like this, and we don't get a lot of exercise. Jean hikes up the mountain in Pagosa every day. It's a mile.
Now, for our listening, where's Pagosa?
Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Yeah, and it's in relationship to Durango, or where is it?
Durango, down at the Four Corners, southwest.
Okay,
And it's a great place, lots of snow.
good. Well, now tell me, now that you've had cancer, I'll start with you, Jean. Now that you've had cancer, what difference does that make to you?
Just another bump in the road, that's
It's
all.
a bump in the road. After all you've been through, it is just kind of a
Yeah,
bump in the road.
I've been scared to death before.
Now, but when you're diagnosed, what did it make any kind of an impact, or just here's another little thing? Or
When he said you got lumps right away, you know, I'm old enough to know I probably got prostate cancer. He didn't have to tell me. And he didn't have to tell me to go get biopsied, but I knew it was all going to come out of his mouth, and I thought, well, something had to catch me, so
okay.
that was the way I thought about it. I personally have faith that the Lord will take care of me as long as he wants to. He has so far. And I'm not going to say that if something's coming, I'm going to let myself get killed and say it's the will of God. I'm going to fight like hell, but if I do get killed, why?
Then
Nobody owes me anything.
yeah, you've enjoyed the life, and the Lord's going to watch over you.
And I
when
look
it's your
forward to
time,
the life hereafter.
You're looking forward to the life. Now, what about having cancer? It sounded like you were trying to make it out of a party, but what did it do for you? I mean, having had
Nothing.
cancer. You had cancer.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
Was it like a little bump in the road also?
It wasn't even a bump in the road. They said you got cancer. I said, well, fix it.
She was out playing golf.
Playing
As soon as
unbelievable.
the surgery was better.
Yeah.
I have, let's say, 5 kids. I have been at the
Only 5?
Only 5. I've been at the emergency room so often, I mean, 4 of them are boys. And they knew me by first name. You know, I said, oh, you know, I get this for here, this for that. I've had one had his face ripped off when he was on a motorcycle accident. I had another one that had a badminton pole, 58 stitches in the roof of his mouth. My daughter is in the hospital with bronchitis every time you turn around. And the other kids, they don't get sick. They just get in these dumb accidents. And I say, suck it up and go in.
So
One son rode into a parked car reading, was very academic, reading a book on his bicycle.
One of your kids?
Yeah, and ended up in the emergency room.
He was taking 10 back to the library, and he didn't have one finished.
So with 5 kids and 16, I think you said 16 and 7, 8 grandkids, and many of them are in not too far away from where you are. I mean, some are scattered, but you're able to see your kids and the grandkids.
And they all come home at Christmas time.
They all come home at Christmas time for one great big reunion.
And we have a 3-bedroom house.
Oh, it must be cozy, is all I can say.
Well, we live in a community that has old hunting lodge on it before the homes were built. And it's belonged by the Property Owners Association. And it's got 5 bedrooms in it and 3 full baths and a full kitchen and a huge fireplace. So you know where the kids go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I rent that.
Perfect, yeah.
But we don't rent it all the time because it's not always available.
Well, but so the kids come home every Christmas.
Yeah, and more
And
often.
you
sometimes.
must be a tremendous role model for them in terms of all that you've been through. And I mean, many people are stymied when they hear the words, "I've got cancer." And they hear it as a death sentence, and they begin falling apart. But you have encountered so many different things during life. When this came along, it was just like a bump in the road. And obviously, we're talking about an Irish Catholic and a Protestant, Irish Protestant here getting together, and the two of you have blended your lives in an amazing way. And I know that as you return there to Colorado, that you're going to have opportunity to share with others what having cancer meant to you, and that it's just a little bump in the road. Again, I want to thank you for joining us here on Journey of Hope. We have people from around the world that are watching, and different people that have different experiences are able to identify with some of the things that you've been sharing. And life is a journey. We wake up in the morning and we have no idea what's going to unfold for us before that day. The psalmist says, "Today is the day of the Lord. Let us be glad and rejoice in it." We only have one day. We don't have yesterday. We don't have tomorrow. And I often tell people, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm so glad to know who holds the future. And for our listening audience, I'm Lynn Martell for Journey of Hope. And this week, some of you that are watching have been encountered with some sobering news. And I want you to know that God's got a plan for your life. If you'll wait, He will open doors. If you'll seek counsel, if you'll look to Him in prayer, He will open doors, He'll open windows, He'll give you a glimpse of what His plans are for you. I want to thank you for joining us. And I want you to know that God's got a plan for your life. Until we meet next week, thank you for joining us. We thank you for your prayers and for your support. Until next week, may God bless you each one. Look to Him. He will open and close doors for you. Give Him a chance.